And look, to dive into now the nitty gritty, let's dive into the 7 divisions. If you've been part of Wize Mentoring before, you probably would have heard us go through the 7 divisions, but it runs so deep, and the way it's able to explain the scope of a Wize firm and what exactly we need to do to build it up and what sort of leaders we need to put into each division becomes so clear when it's all laid out before us. And Jamie, if you'll be so kind to take us through the 7 divisional org chart and how this aids us in basically building up a business that would run without us. And perhaps in going to these divisions, what are some of the barriers in setting up these divisions and that could ultimately affect our growth as a firm?
Yeah, thanks, Thomas. Everyone will know when you start out, you have to wear all the hats. So I started my business from my home office. Anyone the same, whether you buy a firm or you start it yourself, definitely have to wear all the hats. You're the cleaner, you're the receptionist, you're the admin person, you're the marketer. I used to joke because I was the director, the shareholder, and the employee. You just have to wear all the hats. So I think, Thomas, the biggest barrier is as your firm grows, you have to change professionally. I know that I had to change how I thought about things. That was a bit of a challenge. So I think they say by the time you're about 25, you're pretty set in your ways, Thomas. You've really got to take stock of how you used to do things. And as Ed says, we're all born out of production. Most of us, I started in bookkeeping. My career was, I started in bookkeeping and then started teaching people bookkeeping, actually, and then ended up I did management accounting and then did public practice in the end. And that's how we got into what we do today. But yeah, the thing is when you start is realizing that you have to delegate. So you have to delegate effectively. And then when you delegate, you have to lead people, you have to mentor people. I think leadership can be learnt as long as you're open to it, willing to change. And that was the biggest thing that Ed helped me with, was just leading the team. Ed has all these fantastic sayings like seek the facts, pick your battles, don't have videos behind your eyes, don't get paranoid, all these. We're putting a book together on this, aren't we, Thomas? All those things were really, really helpful. Another thing was Ed would say, sleep on it. So really big decisions. So when you're hiring people, never hire quickly, do it slow. That was a massive lesson there. And then we got Wize Talent. Quickly run through the divisions, your division 1 board of directors. If you're the owner of your firm, you'll pretty much sit in that seat the entire time, but that's very strategic. You must think strategically as an owner of your firm. So you really should be at least monthly looking at your figures when you scale your firm up to past $1 million or whatever your long-term goals are. Make sure that yourself as the owner of the firm or the general manager or CEO, make sure you keep looking at the figures. And then once you get senior client managers, at least sort of monthly or at minimum quarterly, if not monthly, look at your Fab 5. And if you don't know what the Fab 5 is, make sure you do a deep dive into the videos on Fab 5, because leadership is all about showing people the results of their actions. That's really, really important. I couldn't stress that enough as a leader. See, when you're the owner of a firm, you should be at a helicopter level, should be up higher. You should stop cutting the wood and standing up and looking over the forest to see where you are. That's so critical. So you've got to do that as a leader. And particularly when you've got client managers, you must show them the results of their actions as well. So that's really that sort of at the board of directors. And then of course, back in the early days, I didn't do any marketing. I just got referrals. Once you want to step back from being the butterfly and become the butterfly catcher, Ed says that we need to create a garden of butterflies sort of thing. In the marketing, when you're starting out, often you won't do much marketing, but as you get bigger, and if you want a healthy source of leads, it's good to do marketing. So these days, for example, we have a full-time person who just does the marketing at Sky, and they're in the Philippines. Once you get to a certain scale, you can definitely step back from marketing, and you can even have someone that's very strategic at marketing as well. There's so many things in the Wize Vault around marketing, third-party testimonials. You can enter business awards. You can get testimonials from your clients as well. So there's so much work you can do in marketing. It's great. Sales is one of those areas that as your firm grows, it's probably one of the biggest steps to remove yourself from. And traditionally, the client managers, the senior client managers and the assistant managers, they look after the sales. So when I went through that process, it was a matter of just putting the senior client managers in place and helping double back in the meetings, micro training them, Thomas, so that they know exactly what to do. It just takes time. It takes time. I had a call yesterday with someone about how to get trust and loyalty from their team. And the way to do it is spend time. You can't demand trust and you can't demand loyalty. So you must spend time with them. And when I say time, you must spend spend hours with them. You can't just ring them every day and say, what are you going to get done today? Like the daily huddle is one thing. That's just one aspect of it. But to get trust and to get loyalty, people want to grow in their careers. They want to succeed in their careers. And the way to help them is to micro train them. And micro train doesn't mean 5 minutes. Micro training means going through a set of procedures, policies, and investing in people. I couldn't stress that more to everyone here today. Invest in people, but not just 5 minutes here and there. It doesn't work like that. That sort of leads on to sales, where you can pull yourself out of sales, invest in people. Same with production. Micro train people, have standard operating procedures, checklists, and again, teach your senior client managers that they have to invest in people. Middle level management's the hardest to fill anywhere in any organization. So your role as a firm owner is to create a leadership level underneath you. That's really a challenge. It's a bit like Ed says, it's always easier just to do the work yourself, isn't it? And you should never say, oh, it's quicker if I just do it myself. That's just like the hamster on the treadmill. Just keep stressing it. Invest in people. When you invest in people, you'll win their loyalty and you'll win their trust. You have to earn it both ways. You're moving through this org chart here, Thomas, and then you sort of get up to Division 5 quality. So that's just a matter of setting up some systems to survey your client. That's the Net Promoter Score. And there's lots of those ones to do. I like to call that a quick win. A lot of firms, if you're not doing that, make sure you survey your clients when the jobs are get done of how they're going, and then provide that feedback to the people that are doing the work, that are responsible for the client managers. Office admin, Division 6 is a great one. And sometimes firms have their bookkeepers and accountants doing too much admin. So make sure that the admin people do the admin, the rest of the team do what they're supposed to be doing. You want to make sure that people in Division 3 and 4 are getting a level of productivity. Doesn't matter whether you're fixed fee or not, you must measure efficiency, but you don't want them doing admin. So it's really good to hire, one of your first hires can potentially be an admin person who can just do a list of all your admin tasks, and then you can delegate them effectively and invest in them to do the admin. And I did that early days, probably the first couple of years of my firm, had an admin person. And then Division 7, which is really critical, I would say, not only just to do your own internal books, but that's important, of course, but make sure you get the Fab 5 done. Whenever I'm speaking to people or mentoring people or helping people, I will absolutely do a sprint, I would say, Thomas, a sprint to the Fab 5. I see people's eyes light up when I show them the Fab 5. And then once you've got senior client managers, once you've got people in teams, which is really important, then their results, their facts are in the Fab 5. That's a real breakthrough, like an epiphany of say, oh, wow, does that person need to set a budget for you? Yes, they do. They have a budget. They are in charge of the team. They set the salaries, so forth and so forth. As long as you empower them, give them some leadership training. I remember years ago, Ed came to our office and we did some leadership training. There's different types of leaders. So each of those divisions, Thomas, has their own challenges. But I think one of the big challenges, once your firm gets to the right size, you've got trusting and loyal staff. One of the biggest steps is Division 3. Once you get client managers, that changed a lot for me, changed a great deal. As you develop each team, as each team sort of gets to 500,000 or 600,000, each team will have its own challenges as well. Not everyone's different like a robot. The different client managers have their own personalities. So then as the leader, you can help them overcome their own challenges as well. But a lot of the things that Ed taught me were out of the book. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That's a great resource. We've really taken, Ed's taken that and a couple other books like the E-Myth, and really just Ed's made it fit for Wize Mentoring and helping people. So
I really love the 7 divisions, because not only does it show you the different modules that are needed to build up a Wize firm, it's also the things that aren't here that are important too, that Jamie, that you might often see in other accounting firms. They might set up like an IT department or some sort of funky department and funky roles, and all of a sudden they're saying, where's my profit going?
This is like a ladder. So these 7 steps, lately we've been calling the 7 steps to freedom. It's like a ladder. These are like the backbone. Those 7 steps are like the backbone. And that's a great graph. Years ago, true story, Ed might remember, but I said to Ed, this is many years ago now, Ed, I said, Ed, how do I remove myself from my firm? And then Ed took me on a journey, and he actually said it to me, I think, on the phone. And then I got a graphic designer, Ed, you might recall, to draw this up. That I remember you say, Jamie, you remove yourself from admin first. That's really easy. You can get someone else to do admin. So I thought, right, that's a good point. I'm going to list all the admin tasks and get someone else to do them. And then next one was production. And so away we go, production, and then managing. That was more tricky again. So you can follow all those steps down there, everyone. And that's exactly how you do it.
And something to point out, Jamie, is that perhaps every firm's withdrawal journey might not always look the same, but definitely admin is one of the simplest and easiest to be able to get ourselves out from.
Yeah,